planning.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
What's on your wish list for a great place to live? Most people look for excellent schools, safe streets, access to good housing, and well-paying jobs. But what if you could live in a community that would help you protect and even improve your health and the health of your loved ones? Where you could enjoy clean air, have access to ample clean water, and shop for reasonably priced healthy food. Would you like to feel safe on your streets, whether you're driving, walking, or riding a bike? Would you like to relax and exercise in accessible parks and be able to count on good public transportation? Increasingly, cities and towns across the country are making planning for good health a priority. Planners are working with public and private organizations to create an environment that will improve our health today and guarantee the health of our children tomorrow. Learn more at planning.org. That's planning.org. A message from this station and the American Planning Association.
Welcome to the new John Simmons Show. After years of battling a gambling addiction, John found a hope and a future for his life through Christ. He has spent the last several years encouraging others to find joy, peace, and hope in their lives by walking out God's plan for their lives. Now, John wants to help you find the passion, vision, and faith you need to start writing out God's sentence for your life and help you add to it every day. Phone lines are now open. Call or text 314-880-0808. Now, here is your host, the new John Simmons.
Hey, everybody, welcome. It's the new John Simmons Show, part of the Testimony House Network, where you can find God's sentence for your life and become the new you, where we talk about finding passion, vision, and faith in your walk with Christ so that your life can overflow with joy, peace, and hope today. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm very excited to try and get our first guest on the air tonight. He is the CEO of U.S. Corporate Wellness. He's also the co-founder of the Catalyst Coaching Institute. He seems to be texting me. We have a lot of stuff going on video-wise right now, so hopefully this will work out. If not, we'll have Brad on here in just a second. But he's also invented the AeroBar Edge Triathlon training device. He has written 4 books and completed 11 Ironman triathlons. He is here with us tonight to discuss a film that will be in theaters on May 22nd called Godspeed, the Race Across the Country. Let's see if we can bring Brad in on the show or not. Brad, can you hear me? All right, we're having trouble. So he's going to have to call back to the station, and we'll get his interview with him in just a second. He has this great movie coming out. It's about endurance cycling. I've seen the trailer for it. It's incredible. This is a movie that him and his partner, Jerry, and he's going to talk about it when he gives a call here in just a second. They took their bikes across the country, I mean, from coast to coast. So it's a very exciting thing that this show has got going on. So it is exciting to talk to someone like that who's doing great things. They're sharing their faith. They're being able to use their life. Okay, yeah, good. Okay, put him on. There's too many things going on at once, Brad. I'm sorry, this is bad radio. How are you doing?
No, I'm doing great. How you doing, buddy?
Good. I had a little issues with my text. Now my computer's blowing up, and here you are on the phone. I gave a little promo for everybody, but since you just hopped on the line, let me go over some of the things that we talked about with you. And if you've got radio or something on in your background, I'm going to need you to turn it down or off. So you're the CEO of U.S. Corporate Wellness. You're also the co-founder of Catalyst Coaching Institute and the inventor of the AeroBar Edge Triathlon. You've also written 4 books and completed 11 Ironman triathlons, and now you're here to discuss this film called Godspeed, the Race Across America, or the country, I'm sorry. Is this correct?
That is good stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Well, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. You
know, I'm always impressed by people who seem to be doing more in life than there seems to be time for. You know, you run this company, you know, in your bio, it says you invent things and it says you're a husband and a father. I don't know how you have the time for all of this, but you've now added to seemingly a full plate add to it to ride your bike across the country and also film it. So, you know, can you tell us what this film is about and why you decided to add this journey to your full plate?
Yeah, actually, a buddy of mine, Jerry Schemmel, came to me about so it was November of 2014, and said, "Hey, Brad, you want to do this thing called the Race Across America?" And it's where two people tag team back and forth 24/7 from Oceanside, California to Annapolis, Maryland, and you see which two-person team can get there fastest. And when he first asked me, I actually thought he was selling some kind of multi-level marketing thing, because I have not. And seriously, he emailed me and asked if I wanted to get together for lunch. We knew each other a little bit through church, and I turned to my wife and said, I think he's probably doing one of these MLM things, but he seems like a good guy, so yeah, I guess I'll get together for lunch. And turns out it was a lot worse than multi-level marketing, my friend.
Yeah, he wants you to get on a bike and pedal it to death.
Exactly.
So were you into biking before? Like, was this something that you were even piqued your interest? Because obviously you've done it, but you said it was sort of you weren't expecting this conversation to take place.
Yeah, I really wasn't. I was a triathlete at the time. The longest I'd ever ridden in my life was 140 miles, and then all of a sudden we were riding about 410 miles a day between the two of us for this race. So definitely out of my comfort zone, and I think that's one of the cool things about the movie is it's a bike movie, but it's not. You know, somebody who hates bikes will sit there and go, you know what, that's kind of got me fired up about doing that, and then you fill in the blank. It could be anything. So it's set in a cycling scene basically, but it's really about life. It's really about the challenges that we take on and getting uncomfortable and trying things that maybe we never even dreamed about before. So that's the fun thing about the film is it is a bike movie, but it's not at all a bike movie.
Yeah, well, on our show, we like to encourage people to sort of step out in what God has for them. This film is written out, and it's described as an inspiring documentary of faith and determination. So can you tell us how the faith plays a part in this film?
You know, you see the faith as hopefully you see in any pursuit that we're taking on as believers. You see the faith come out throughout. It's not a movie that has the 4 spiritual laws in it. It's not a movie where we're standing there saying, now you need to invite Jesus into your life today.
Right.
But you see the faith. You see the prayer before the race. You see the reference to, oh man, God, I just need your help in this situation, the dependence on God in those situations. So you see it throughout, integrated into our lives, just as hopefully it is in every single thing that we're doing every day as parents, as business owners, in any element.
Brad Cooper joining us on the phone tonight on the new John Simmons Show. We're talking about his new movie, Godspeed, the race across America, the inspiring story of 2 cyclists and their team enduring hope in the race across America. Let's talk a little bit about your partner. You've already sort of mentioned how you guys got together, but his name is Jerry Schemmel, if I'm saying that correctly, and he's currently the sports broadcaster for the Colorado Rockies, and so it seems like, you know, bicycling and baseball don't necessarily go together, but for the two of you, you know, what's your relationship been like during this race, which obviously probably brought you guys closer together?
It really did. And we, no exaggeration, probably spoke a total of 10 minutes over 7.5 days.
Oh my.
You never, because either he's on the bike or I'm on the bike. If he's on the bike, I'm in the car trying to eat, drink, sleep. When I'm on the bike, he's doing the same. So you'll see a couple brief moments in the film where we are like, hey, buddy, way to go. That was awesome. Way to get that pull done. Or come on, let's go get the Germans or whatever.
Right.
But for the most part, it's literally 2 seconds and then see ya.
Oh,
and then 2 hours later, 2 seconds and then see ya. So we've developed a very strong friendship since then, but we really didn't know each other prior, and we spent 0 time together during the race itself. But since then, it's really developed.
Yeah. So, Brad, if you don't mind, sort of explain to our listeners the nuts and bolts of this race, because I mean, if people haven't caught on, you took your bike coast to coast, and that's a very impressive feat. So, what did the tag team look like, and how many miles did you guys ride?
Yeah, it's a little over 3,000 miles. It's 170,000 feet of elevation change.
It's a lot of hills.
It's every possible weather combination. And one of the cool things they've got in the film is you get to see I guess you can't really see the heat, but we go through this area called the glass elevator, and it's just gorgeous, but it's 120 degrees. And then a few days later, it's nonstop rain for 3 straight days, and you see the cameras caught these beautiful lightning strikes that look really good on film, but when you're actually riding in it, it scares you to death. And the race involves all of that. You're 24/7. as I said before, when Jerry's riding, I'm trying to recover, and vice versa. And you just don't stop. It's constantly go. I think we had one moment on the 6th day that you'll see in the film where we actually have a little chat about what's the next step. But otherwise, it is just go, go, go the entire time.
Did you say it took 6 days?
It took just over 7 days.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of cycling. So it's 24 hours a day, I assume. And it's not like you can do
Exactly.
a test run of this. So how do you train to
No.
prepare to get ready for something like this?
Yeah, you do as much as you can. So I was coming out of training for an Ironman. I was used to spending about 20 hours a week training. So what I did personally is I just took the swim and run time that I had typically been devoting and put it all into the cycling. And I actually got in a bike wreck 6 weeks before the race, broke 8 bones, pelvis, ribs, clavicle. And so that changed my training a little bit. Instead of being outside, the doctors did approve me continuing, but they said, you've got to stay on your indoor bike in the basement. We cannot take a risk of you getting another wreck, because that will displace the pelvis, that will shatter the ribs, and we've got to keep you safe until the starting line. So that changed up. My normal strategy would have been to get outside a lot more.
Sure.
As a result of the wreck, I was indoors for that last 6 weeks.
So you broke basically your entire body before you go on this cross-country journey with Jerry, and you also have the camera crew with you. What is it like in your faith walk? I want to talk about that for a minute. You know, when you're saying, well, my body's broken, God, how on earth can I go and pursue some of this determination quality that the movie is trying to encourage other people to keep going, no matter what it is in their life. Obviously, you know, not all of us are going to bike across the country, but how are you sort of pushing into your relationship with God to be able to push through those obstacles to finish this race?
Yeah, that's a really good question, John. I think God, if we're paying attention, God clarifies a vision for us. You know, if we're open to it and we're listening and we're tuned in and we're talking to those people that he's put around us for a good reason, then we create this incredible vision. And when you stay focused on that vision, then there's no, well, maybe we should stop. There's no, oh, I don't know, should we keep trying? You just go.
Right.
And that's the way this was. We had this vision that God said, we really felt like God was calling us to do this, and that we could represent him well in this. And so the wreck happens and you're heartbroken and you're thinking, oh no, but you're not thinking, I can't do it. You're thinking, will the doctors let me?
Right.
And Jerry's thinking the same thing. Will Brad be able to? Because we still are going to go. And so then when you're out on the race, you're not thinking, well, you know, it's kind of raining today. Well, it's pretty hot. Well, I'm really tired. Well, you know, this or that. Just like in life. I mean, the bike race is so much like life. You know, we every day, you had it happen today, I had it happen today. We hit bumps, we hit storms, we hit stuff we didn't expect, we didn't want. But if you stay focused on that vision, we keep going. And that's what the race was about, and that's frankly what life's about.
We're here with Brad Cooper here. He's starring in this new movie, Godspeed, The Race Across America. It will be in theaters one night, May 22nd. This is a Fathom movie event. If you want to pick up tickets to this performance, this film, GodspeedCycling.com or FathomEvents.com. You'll be able to get up your tickets to the 7 p.m. show. Also included with the purchase of the ticket, it says that there will be a pre-recorded Q&A with both you and Jerry. So what was that like, and what should the viewers expect?
Yeah, one quick comment about the tickets. I'd get them as soon as possible because some of these theaters are a little bit smaller and some of them have already sold out. So it's a one-night event. Get them now if you think this sounds like a cool deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Q&A, we're wide open, and we won't just stop at that event that's before the film itself. If people want to reach out to us, my Twitter handle is @RunningCEO. They're welcome to send questions. I'll do my best to get back to them. We really want to see this used to help people take that next step in their life, regardless of what that next step might be. So I'm happy to answer any questions, talk through anything that people are kind of struggling with their own wreck in their life and kind of build off of this. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Very exciting. In fact, one of the things that you just mentioned a minute ago was this idea that, you know, having a vision and trying to see it through is all about God's plan for our life. And we talk about this so often on our show, that God has a unique plan and the vision for us. And it doesn't necessarily have to be our career or just our family, or it can be just different moments in our life. And I really like that this bike race that you guys are doing was for a cause. And we haven't got to mention this yet. So it was for the orphans of Haiti. So can you tell me more about how this was involved with the project?
Yeah, we wanted to pick some additional calling to this, where it wasn't just, hey, look at us, but we could point to something else that meant a lot more. And so Jerry had recently been to Haiti. One of the guys in his Bible study was in charge of an organization called Building Hope International, and we decided we would partner with them, and thanks to some great donors, ended up raising $55,000 to support the orphans in Haiti. So it was pretty powerful.
Yeah, anytime that we're doing something for other people is something I think that all of us can sort of attach ourselves to, that we're doing something inside God's will, about serving others and loving God in that way. So I want to be able to encourage people who are, going through difficult times in life. I know that you're sort of using this bike race as an analogy for so many other things. So can you tell us maybe a couple hardships that happened on the race itself?
Yeah, one of the things people will see in the film is we get to it's about 6.5, so we've probably got 150 miles to go, and you think, boy, 150? It's a 3,000-mile race. You're almost there. But that's kind of when we hit our I don't know spot. We were trying to decide, do we try to get a little sleep? Do we take a little break here? The weather's not very cooperative. We just came through these hills, and we were both really struggling at that point. The crew was tired. Our crew was just amazing, by the way. These are people, you think about the people in your life. We had, between a couple of different shifts, we had 17 people that spent a good portion of that time with us, supporting us, doing everything.
Wow.
Made a huge difference. And again, kind of coming back to life, think about the people in your life. Like my wife is just unbelievable. And we just celebrated 25 years of marriage.
Congrats.
And life would not be the same without her. And same thing with this crew. They carried everything for us. Wouldn't have had a chance. And so a lot of the things that would have not gone well in that race, some of those tough spots that you're talking about, really they carried us through those. And so one thing they'll see in the film is that day 6 thing. Another time we took a wrong turn. And in RAM, if you take a wrong turn, you don't just correct for it. You have to go back to where you took the wrong turn and start over from that spot. And so there's a real dramatic scene in the movie where we didn't realize 5 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour. We realized over an hour into the wrong turn that we'd taken that wrong turn. And this is Kansas, so we're flying. I think I was averaging 24 miles an hour for that hour. So we were 24 miles out of the way. We had just passed the German team that morning, and so they basically picked up 22 miles on us, and we spent the rest of the day chasing them down again. So that was heartbreaking. But again, life, right?
Yeah,
we take wrong turns. We think we're on the right track. We end up and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm on the wrong road of life. And we've got to go back and correct for it. And you do. So we did. We moved on from there. But again, it's just, and I had never thought about it until you asked me that question. But yeah, it's again, just like life. We're going to take some wrong turns. But what do we do when we do take those wrong turns?
Exactly. And that's the sort of the point of all that we're doing for God is to try and be salt and light to those that would see us walk out our faith. And so you're doing a great job here. This movie, Godspeed, The Race Across America, again, is available one night only on May 22nd. Brad Cooper with us on the phone. He's told us that we got to get our tickets fast. It's at 7 p.m. There's going to be a Q&A afterwards. Visit GodspeedCycling.com or FathomEvents.com. Hey, before we leave, will you tell us sort of, what was the easiest part of the race, or what was the most fun part of the race for you?
I think for me, and again, they'll see this in the film, I like to compete. That's the fun part for me. So we had a couple of, we did pretty well in the 2-person division. We knew we were going to win that after our biggest competition dropped out after the second day. So we had a big lead over that group. And so we started trying to chase down the 4-person teams. And we had a couple of them that we just kept going back and forth with. And so for me, John, that was the fun part, is when they'd come up and pass us, and then we'd come back and pass them. So for me, that was super fun. And then the other piece, our kids, who are now 23, 21, and 19, were on the crew. So at the time, this was 2 years ago, so they were 21, 19, and 17. And just as a dad, having them out there contributing, not just being token members, but cooking the food and navigating the course. And man, talk about a lifetime memory. We were just talking about it at dinner tonight. Our son was talking about it, and it's just one of those cool things as a dad where you think, man, that was awesome.
Yeah, I saw the pictures online of all your support team, and I'm sure that, for them to be a part of that and to cheer you on and be part of the victory must have been so much hope and encouragement building just in them as you just described. I'll leave you with this last question. You've obviously finished the race here, but you're doing so many things. What's next on your agenda?
Yeah, good question. In the midst of the race, one of the things I studied, I'm a physical therapist is my long-term background. That was before we started U.S. Corporate Wellness. But so the physiology piece, I got it. But what I was curious about from this race was the mental piece, all the impact that the mental played throughout this 7-day event. And so I actually came back to as much studying as I could, and ended up starting a PhD program. And my dissertation topic, you'll like this, is on mental toughness and how do we apply it in a health and wellness setting. So my next thing is to go through this PhD. I'm about a year into it now. Got about 2.5 years to go. And so that's primary for me as far as new strategies and pursuits. And obviously that's in addition to, we want to keep making a difference through U.S. Corporate Wellness and the Catalyst Coaching Institute. So
let people know how they can reach out to you if they'd like to, or how they can find more things that you're working on.
Yeah, our website, and you could just, if you're trying to find us through that, you can just send a note through any of the links on the website and just put for Brad, and it'll find its way to me. So that's uscorporatewellness.com. And then if you're on Twitter, or I mainly use Twitter for a lot of the research stuff, so a lot of the mental toughness stuff and physiology stuff. So that's at Running CEO. So either one of those would be great, and love to hear from folks.
All right, Brad Cooper, thanks for being on the show with us tonight.
John, I appreciate it. Have a great night.
You too, all right? That's Brad Cooper, everybody. He's going to be in this new film, Godspeed, The Race Across America, in theaters for one night, May 22nd. This is a Fathom movie event. You can get your tickets over at GodspeedCycling.com, FathomEvents.com. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some of my favorite endurance documentaries. We'll keep this sort of theme going tonight. I've got a couple, and maybe Godspeed will make my list when we go check it out on the 22nd. So don't go away. You're listening to the New John Simmons Show, part of the Testimony House Network. Hey, everybody. New John Simmons here with you. Back in 2012, I found myself at the end of my rope for what seemed like the 100th time. I cried out to God and said, God, if you're real, I need you to show me a future and a hope for my life. What happened next changed my life forever. It took me out of my life where I was a gambling addict who had lost over $500,000, allowed me to begin a new life in Christ, where I found more joy, peace, and hope than I ever knew existed. I share the stories, including where I blamed God for my father's death and the call into ministry that I found in my first book called Finding Faith. I also share with you the answers to the questions that I was asking God about what is faith and how can I move mountains with it. Finding Faith has those stories and so much more. I absolutely believe it can encourage you to find faith in your life today. Finding Faith by me, the New John Simmons, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble website, Walmart. You can also pick up a copy signed by me over at newjohnsimmons.com.
Testimony House Ministries is the proud sponsor of the New John Simmons Show. We are so thankful for all of you who tune into the show, watch us live on Facebook or on our YouTube channel. Without all of you, the New John Simmons Show and all of the other Testimony House Network shows would not be possible. Please visit newjohnsimmons.com today and click the Partner with Us tab to help us continue sharing our message of the future and a hope through Christ with others. God bless. Are you interested in learning more about finding God's sentence for your life? At newjohnsimmons.com, there are articles and videos describing how you can begin to write God's sentence for your life by finding passion, vision, and faith. In addition, newjohnsimmons.com has a variety of ways for you to be encouraged to continue writing God's sentence. As always, you can hear the show live weekdays at 9 p.m. Central Time by clicking the Listen Live button when you visit newjohnsimmons.com.
Faithfully Fit and Wellness is St. Louis's all-new faith-based fitness program. Not only does Faithfully Fit want to see you shed pounds, but also wants to see you shed any other weight you've been carrying through Christ. Classes are filling up every morning during the week, so grab your spot in an individual class or an 8-week boot camp. Faithfully Fit offers classes in circuit training, drumstick fusion, cardio, and strength and personal training. Classes start at just $5, and the 8-week boot camp starts at $75. But wait, as a listener of the new John Simmons Show, Faithfully Fit is offering you a buy one, get one free boot camp when you mention this ad when signing up. That's 2 camps for the price of 1. You can bring a friend, split the cost, or have your second camp for free. Either way, this is a special offer only for show listeners. Sign up today by calling 314-239-4149 or visit faithfully.fit for more information. Faithfully Fit can also hold classes at your church or school. Don't delay. Contact Faithfully Fit, where they hope to strengthen your body and your relationship with Christ. Call 314-239-4149.
WGNU, the talk of St. Louis. Broadcasting on 920 AM and 106.9 FM.
Want to start writing or add to God's sentence for your life? Wants to learn what that means? Visit newjohnsimmons.com for articles and videos that can help you find a future and a hope for your life today. Now, back to the new John Simmons Show.
All your promises are yes and amen. All your promises. All your promises.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's the new John Simmons Show, part of the Testimony House Network, with you evenings live at 9 o'clock on your Facebook Live radio stations, wherever you can find us. And we also have podcasts available over at the iTunes Store, Google Play Store, CastBox, and you can find us on your home devices as well. Just say, hey, play the new John Simmons Show on TuneIn. And it's that simple to hear our latest episodes. I also have a brand new blog I put up on our website, newjohnsimmons.com, talking about the sports gambling legalization issue that has found its way into our national discussion this week, as the Supreme Court has allowed sports betting to be legalized in all 50 states if those states so choose. And so I think that opens the door for a lot of new addictions and new struggles and issues. I talk about what we should sort of expect, and also some of the things that we need to sort of fight against as believers, and, you know, not let these things into our home and let them influence our children. So all you got to do to find that is head over to newjohnsimmons.com. Facebook's not letting us put it up. They say it's harassing. I got a note from Facebook today about this. They must be pro sports gambling because Facebook doesn't want me to talk about it. So maybe I must have said something right. So head over to newjohnsimmons.com to check that blog out. It's called Legalized Sports Betting Will Ruin Lives and Destroy Futures. Because it will. Just had Brad Cooper, CEO of U.S. Corporate Wellness, and he's also starring in this new film, Godspeed, The Race Across America. This is going to be a documentary that is airing in theaters on May 22nd. Very excited to see this for myself. And so as I was, preparing for this show and thinking about some of my questions for Brad, I realized that, a movie like this is not something that I haven't seen before, because I am drawn to documentaries. In fact, one of my favorite things to do in my spare time is to watch documentaries. I'm not a huge reader. I do read. I'm trying to do 2 books a month right now. I've set a goal for myself and a vision for 2018 to read 24 books. Now, I know that to some of you that's a lot. To some of you that's not nearly enough. And so, but to me, that's the perfect number. And so I'm trying to reach that goal. Maybe we'll stretch it out next year. I'm trying to attain the Pat Williams level at some point in my life. Pat Williams, of course, NBA founder of the Orlando Magic and friend of the show. He tells me he reads 365 books a year. He reads one a day. He has like 5 going, 1 at the house, 1 in the car, 1 at the office, and he just reads, whenever there's spare time at red lights or, in between meetings and things like this. And so I haven't got to that far a level of reading, but I do like to watch a good documentary, and I'll watch documentaries about pretty much anything. Historical documentaries are not my fave, but I'll watch them. Usually I'm drawn to stories of, overcoming something, or stories of, someone accomplishing a goal. These are the types of stories that I'm really drawn to. The entrepreneurial stories. I'll watch a lot of things on people like Steve Jobs or Lincoln, or types of people who have created business or, created something in life. Henry Ford has a number of documentaries out there, and I like some of those. And there was even this like documentary series on A&E where they went over like Carnegie and, all these different, founders of industry and Rockefeller. And I found those things to be fascinating. I love stories. I love documentary stories and stories of someone, their journey to get where they wanted to be, because those are stories of both a vision and of faith. And this Godspeed film is, you heard out of the mouth of Brad Cooper, who's the star of the film. He had a vision to go across the country. It wasn't necessarily his vision. And that's a good takeaway for us who are trying to find God's sentence for our life, that not every time we, step out in faith does it have to be what we want to do. We see this, in Jacob, he's trying to get his wife, and Rachel and Leah, and he has to work 7 years and he doesn't get the wife that he wants, and he has to go work another 7 years, And so there are times, even in the Bible, that we see people do things and they have a vision for their future. Jacob wanted to be married to, this beautiful woman, and he was able to persevere and to find endurance to go through the trials that he needed to go through to gain that victory. It's all about having a vision. And so whether your vision is to, ride your bike across the country, to get the wife that God promised you, to get your people to the promised land, to graduate from a certain school, or to get that special job, whatever it is, visions in life can all stem from different places. They can come from your heart. They can come from God. You can attach yourself to other people's visions. I think that that's totally godly. You see this throughout the Bible, that, when leaders arise, if God wants you to go follow someone, it's okay to, follow someone for a time, and maybe you follow them for your whole life. And, just because you follow someone doesn't mean that you're following them. You're just working as a team, and we all have different roles inside of a team. We all can't be the president of the company, and we all can't just be the workers, because if all the workers don't have any vision, they're just going to sort of patter out and leave. And if, but there's room for both people. Now, sometimes there needs to be more grace on both sides of that aisle, but a vision doesn't necessarily have to come, in a burning bush. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you've come up with yourself. Sometimes I've found, and I've done this myself, that if you attach yourself to someone else's vision and sort of walk in that, that lane for a little while, especially when you're trying to find God's vision at first, because when you become born again believer and you realize that God has a plan for your life, and you start praying and asking God, what is this plan for my life? What did you create me and design me to do, Lord? You'll find yourself having lots of questions, and those questions may not get answered immediately. And so sometimes, whether it's your desire to get going, or it's just you want to learn something, or you want to be around other people and surround yourself with visionaries or people who are trying to go places, sometimes it can benefit you to go sign up and work for another ministry for part-time. Or maybe you can, go work part-time at a job where it's the field that you want to be in, even though you can't get the perfect job that you want in that field, but maybe you can go work there on the weekends or after school or something. A vision is something that's very important to have. It's what we should be trying to find in our lives, because it helps us stay focused on our future. That way we don't get caught up in our circumstances and our troubles. We don't let sin creep into our life and take hold of our future, because, if you're trying to work towards something, it's really hard to get caught up in sin that tries to drag you down. It's just like having a rope that gets you out of the quicksand. If the quicksand is sin and you don't have a rope to pull yourself out of, you're just going to stay in it and you're going to get sunk further down. But a vision is a rope that helps pull you out of the quicksand of sin in your life. And so it's always good to have a vision. And so these documentaries that I love to watch, these are the ones that I'm drawn to, people who have a vision. And the visions are always so unique and special. And that's what I love about vision, is because it's all unique to the individual, but it's all purposeful inside the kingdom. And whether you're like Rockefeller and you create oil and gasoline, or you're like Ford and create, you invent the assembly line and things like that, or whether you're just someone who was on the factory and helped grow the company. There are names throughout every big corporation. And you even heard Brad Cooper just talk about it, that when he was racing his bike across the country, he had a support team. What did he say? 17 people or something like that, who were behind the scenes helping them prep meals, getting the race ready. His family was there. They were cheerleaders. I'm sure they were, coordinators, and they were filming the project. So no man is an island. And so if you want to find God's plan for your life, understand that it's going to be very difficult to pursue those things by yourself. And you're going to need to find people around you who are, willing to be part of the journey with you. And that's a good place to be. And if you're in your beginning walk with Christ, or you're in a place where you don't see God's plan for your life, this is a good place for you to start. Try and find someone who is doing something that you think is, worth being a part of. It doesn't have to be my show or our ministry, but if there's somebody out there, a church or a ministry or just an organization, anything out there that's doing something you would like to help with, we all have backgrounds and stories. If you've you've lost a loved one to cancer, maybe you should go work in a cancer something or be part of that community. For me, I've had several strokes. And so a desire of mine and a vision for my future is to somehow be involved in that sort of community. Now, whether it's speaking to people or whether it's, sharing finances and resources and trying to help, people who are going through the results and the symptoms of strokes or the life altering changes that can sometimes happen, that's on my heart. But it's all about having a vision. So for me, when I'm watching these documentaries, I get so excited by hearing the visions of other people because we don't always know everything's out there. Brad Cooper, just to keep using him as an example, he is the CEO of U.S. Corporate Wellness. This is a company that helps other companies stay in shape so that they can have, employees that have good morale and last a long time and are able to, function well as a company. Get a bunch of sluggards that don't want to get off the couch, and, maybe your company reacts like that. And so just a thought, if we're trying to find a vision for our life, sometimes it can benefit us to attach either our resources or our time or our energy or our prayers even. If that's all you have to offer, you can maybe start praying, for that thing that you want to see accomplished in God's kingdom. You can always pray for us. Pray for our finances to grow. Pray for our radio stations to grow. Pray for volunteers to continue to show up, and pray for our new studio we're building, that all those things go well. So a lot to go on inside the Testimony House and the New John Simmons Show. But in your life, what is God using you for? To do something special. It's absolutely true. And I love documentaries because you get to see the stories of people, not always Christians, and that's okay. I don't just watch Christian movies, and I don't think that anybody should be doing that with their lives, just simply because, there's more out in the world to learn than just the stuff that's written in the Bible. And it sounds like I shouldn't say things like that, but it's true. The Bible doesn't teach us how to be a mechanic. The Bible teaches us how to live like God wants us to live. It doesn't show us, how to, do surgery better or how to, make a cake. Those are in other books. We have to gain wisdom from all sorts of sources, and the Bible is the absolute truth, and we can stand on it to believe that everything in it is correct and accurate and, can help teach us and guide us. But it's not the only thing out there to watch or, put into your mind and your thoughts. Now, you should absolutely be very considerate and intentional about the things that you do watch. Your eye is a gate to your heart, and you put enough bad stuff in your eyeballs, eventually your heart will start to get a little moldy. Some of these documentaries I like to watch, like Godspeed. I've seen several of these like bicycle racing documentaries. One was called Inspired to Ride. I'm going to see if I can pull this clip up while we're talking, but if I can't, it's no big deal. It's another race across the country. It's a bicycle. I think it's called the Trans Am Bike Race. Here, I got it pulled up. It's an annual self-supported ultra distance cycling race. And again, I think this is on Netflix right now, so it's available for you to go watch yourself. I loved this documentary. I've seen it like 3 times. I don't even ride bikes. I tried to ride bike just about a month ago. I borrowed Kevin's bike, who comes on the show on Fridays, and I've been in this. I need to start exercising more. I want to ride a bike, and bicycles when I was a kid were so easy, but there's all these hills by my house. You got to ride up, it seems like a 10-mile hill to get out of my subdivision, and I don't like that. I got to get off the bike and walk anyway, so I might as well just be walking. But I do like the idea of bicycle riding. And so I watched this. It's called Inspired to Ride. It's over on Netflix now, about the Trans Am bike race. They ride 4,200 miles now. To give you sort of a calculator, Brad said that he rode about 3,000 miles. So this is, about a third longer than that. They go from Washington to Virginia, and I think that Brad sort of took a sort of straighter line, which is okay. I mean, they're both impressive feats. Not one is necessarily better than the other. But this movie talks about the people who were racing here, and they weren't racing in teams. These were individuals who were on their bikes, and they had to ride the whole thing. They didn't take a break while their buddy rode the bike. I couldn't do either, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I can ride across one state Could you ride across maybe Rhode Island, right? What is that, the 30-mile across? I can do that. Maybe we'll start in Rhode Island, and maybe we'll stretch ourselves out. But to watch these guys, there was several of them. I think 40-something people who finished this race across the country. It took months. That's why I sort of asked Brad about how long it took him. He said it took him a little over 7 days. In this other documentary, Inspired to Ride, these guys took months, some of them. Now, it was a more leisurely ride. Some of the people were retirees. I think the person who finished first in that race by themselves, by the way, so that you had to take time out for sleeping and rest and eating and those things, it took him like 17 days. So that's all it takes, guys, to get across the country on your bike, maybe 17 days if you're the fastest in the world. For me, I'm pretty sure it would take 6 months. I'd be like the guy at the back of the thing going, no, y'all go ahead. You go ahead. I really love these movies, and they can really encourage you to understand the idea that God has a special plan for your life, and also that you can do things that you never thought possible, because that's what God's going to give you to do with your life, something that you just think, oh, that's too big, that's too hard, and that's when you're standing in the place that God wants you to be. So when we come back, I'll share a couple other movies that have just really inspired me to find more faith in my own life and to try and grab hold of what God has for me in my own life. And I want to encourage you with what I've seen so you can find some of that for yourself. Don't go away. You're listening to the New John Simmons Show, part of the Testimony House Network. Hey, everybody. New John Simmons here with you. Back in 2012, I found myself at the end of my rope for what seemed like the 100th time. I cried out to God and said, God, if you're real, I need you to show me a future and a hope for my life. What happened next changed my life forever. It took me out of my life where I was a gambling addict who had lost over $500,000, allowed me to begin a new life in Christ, where I found more joy, peace, and hope than I ever knew existed. I share the stories, including where I blamed God for my father's death and the call into ministry that I found in my first book called Finding Faith. I also share with you the answers to the questions that I was asking God about what is faith and how can I move mountains with it. Finding Faith has those stories and so much more. I absolutely believe it can encourage you to find faith in your life today. Finding Faith by me, the New John Simmons, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble website, Walmart. You can also pick up a copy signed by me over at newjohnsimmons.com.
Testimony House Ministries is the proud sponsor of the New John Simmons Show. We are so thankful for all of you who tune into the show, watch us live on Facebook or on our YouTube channel. Without all of you, the New John Simmons Show and all of the other Testimony House Network shows would not be possible. Please visit newjohnsimmons.com today and click the Partner with Us tab to help us continue sharing our message of future and a hope through Christ with others. God bless. Are you interested in learning more about finding God's sentence for your life? At newjohnsimmons.com, there are articles and videos describing how you can begin to write God's sentence for your life by finding passion, vision, and faith. In addition, newjohnsimmons.com has a variety of ways for you to be encouraged to continue writing God's sentence. As always, you can hear the show live weekdays at 9 p.m. Central Time by clicking the Listen Live button when you visit newjohnsimmons.com.
Faithfully Fit and Wellness is St. Louis's all-new faith-based fitness program. Not only does Faithfully Fit want to see you shed pounds, but also wants to see you shed any other weight you've been carrying through Christ. Classes are filling up every morning during the week, so grab your spot in an individual class or an 8-week boot camp. Faithfully Fit offers classes in circuit training, drumstick fusion, cardio, and strength and personal training. Classes start at just $5, and the 8-week boot camp starts at $75. But wait, as a listener of the New John Simmons Show, Faithfully Fit is offering you a buy one, get one free boot camp when you mention this ad when signing up. That's 2 camps for the price of 1. You can bring a friend, split the cost, or have your second camp for free. Either way, this is a special offer only for show listeners. Sign up today by calling 314-239-4149 or visit faithfully.fit for more information. Faithfully Fit can also hold classes at your church or school. Don't delay. Contact Faithfully Fit, where they hope to strengthen your body and your relationship with Christ. Call 314-239-4149.
Every topic is on the table here at WGNU 920 AM and 106.9 FM.
Find passion, find vision, find faith. You're listening to the New John Simmons Show, part of the Testimony House Network.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. New John Simmons with you here. Find me over on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for @NewJohnSimmons. Follow, like, subscribe, whatever you got to do. You can also find the show on Facebook and YouTube. Just search for the New John Simmons Show. Lots of ways to encourage you, whether it's podcast or live streams or radio content. Just would ask if you are getting something out of it that you would reach out to us or share it with your friends, because we know that a lot of people need encouragement, especially in days like these. So the New John Simmons Show is something special because we're trying to do something that's a little outside the box from normal Christian content. If anybody has watched Christian programming in the last 40 or 50 years, you haven't seen many changes. 14-minute radio shows, 28-minute radio shows. Usually it's someone just preaching, and we're trying to get away from that, trying to have good guests and things that are, entertaining, but also, encouraging. And so if you want to help support that, or you just want to, share it with other people, that would be a great help to all of us here at the show. Tonight, we've been talking about Godspeed, the race across America. We had Brad Cooper, who's the star of that film, alongside Jerry Schimmel. He's currently the play-by-play guy for the Colorado Rockies. So these guys both have prominence and experience in many things. We didn't get to talk to Brad about his invention. Maybe next time we have him on the show. But he invented something they used for this race, I guess, to deal with all of his injuries. But what a race they rode. It was an endurance race across the country. They rode it tag team style on their bicycles. I'm sure they don't call them bicycles. That's like what you ride as a kid, right? These are cyclists. These are legit bikes. They're probably worth more than my car. Just a thought. I wanted to continue talking about my favorite endurance documentaries, because I just really get encouraged by the stories of people who are out there doing extraordinary things, whether it's creating businesses or becoming influential in the world in some degree or in some fashion. One of the weirdest documentaries I ever saw, but also one of the most penetrating to me, was a documentary that came out just a few years ago. I wonder if I can find the year here on it. Fair Chase, 2015. Fair Chase is a documentary, and I believe it was on Netflix when I saw it. I don't think it's on Netflix right now, so you might find it somewhere else. This was a documentary that described endurance hunting. You ever heard of this? I hadn't. That's why I love documentaries. You find out, you learn stuff you didn't know. It's like reading a book, but shorter and more entertaining to watch. And so, endurance hunting. Let me explain to you what it is. So they tried to bring up. They had heard stories that the creator of this film had heard the story that in certain tribes somewhere, some country, that their method of hunting animals to feed their families was endurance hunting, which means that you chase whatever you're trying to kill until it gets too tired to continue running, that you can then walk up to it and kill it with your, I guess, a knife or, some sort of spear that you don't have to throw from a far distance. You can just sort of jab with it. Not the best visual, but I'm trying to explain to you, if you're chasing a deer, for example, they will chase this deer for hours, either in a team or some sort of group setting, to where you keep them in a confined area as best you can, hoping that the animal, whether it's a deer or whether it's something else, I don't know all the animals you can hunt using endurance hunting, but you chase them and you run. And in order to do this, you have to be in extremely good physical shape where you're able to keep up with an animal, by the way. And they say that certain animals can run very fast, very quickly. But many of those animals that run very fast, very quickly also get very tired very quickly. Whereas humans can learn to endure and suffer through, the aches and pains of their body and their muscles telling them to sit down. And so that's why some of these tribes have been successful using this method. What if we had to catch our food by going and chasing it down until it got tired? Could you imagine? Ugh. Endurance hunting. So this documentary I watched called Fair Chase came out a few years ago, and these guys wanted to try and do it themselves, these Americans. So this guy who created the movie, he got 8 of his marathon buddies, all people who had completed several different marathons, and not just the regular kiddie marathons like the Boston Marathon where you walk You know, you run 26 miles. These guys are the ultra marathoners. You know what that is? That's someone who will run like, 10 marathons in 10 days. Or they'll run like a marathon that's like 50 something miles. Incredibly long distances. And so he got a team of all of these experienced runners to try and hunt down a deer. I think it was in Arizona. You have to go see the film to see the outcome for yourself. I don't want to spoil it for you, but in this film, the 9 guys, they chase after this animal, trying to catch it. And it's just, to me, such an interesting thought, because in one of my very first sermons I ever preached in a church, this was my subject matter, this film. It touched me so much. You're like, John, what does this silly film have to do with Jesus? Well, it was one of the strangest things I'd ever seen, but it really invoked thoughts of faith in my life. Imagine you're, the leader of the tribe, and this is how you've been taught to catch food. And your family will go hungry and starve and possibly die without you going out there and chasing after an animal until it gets tired enough to where you can kill it when it's right next to you. Imagine that these guys wake up and we think, well, there's no way I can catch this deer. And these, people who are made just like we are, they're humans, they're blood and flesh, but they've been trained to do it differently. And so they wake up not in the morning going, we're not going to catch it. They wake up and go, how many are we going to catch? And to me, it was this idea of perseverance and endurance that God describes to us throughout the Bible, and talks about how endurance builds character. And the fact that I don't know anything about how you would run and chase down a deer until it got too tired. But these people are doing it in other places every day. Like, that to me is so amazing. And I think about my faith and, is there something that I'm hunting down in my life? To use the same analogy that Brad used in regards to bike racing, and you can use that as a metaphor for other things that you're trying to accomplish in life, whatever it is. For the same thing when it has to do with faith. If we're trying to find God's plan for our life or chase down a vision, pretend that deer is your vision in life or your goal, how many of us are willing to keep running? Running until we get that goal knocked down. That goal gets so tired of us chasing it that we acquire it, that we're willing to not listen to our bodies or our minds or our naysayers when they say you should stop, give up, that you'll never catch it. You'll never catch your dreams. Many of us have heard that in life. That is not the faith that God's put in our heart, though. We're supposed to have hope-filled expectation that the future that is unknown can come to pass. Romans 5:3-4 says, more than that, we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, endurance produces character, and character produces hope. This is a roadmap for being able to have your heart filled with hope, which is it is the thing that fuels and the fire of your faith. How do you do it? Well, you have to rejoice in your sufferings. We all suffer, whether it's physical pain of running after, an animal, or whether it's, crashing our bike before the big race, or whether it's not being able to get our live stream going the way that I wanted to do it at the beginning of the show. We rejoice in our sufferings. Hey, these aren't the end of the world problems. We got to get up and keep that going. But as we're suffering, we're producing endurance, and God is allowing endurance to sort of strengthen our muscles and our mind and allow us to go a little bit further the next time. Allow us to let our troubles fall off our back instead of being so angry about the things that are happening, being like, this was not the way it was supposed to be. Understanding that we can roll with the punches, because when we learn to do those things, we produce character in our hearts. Character is the ability to do what you say you're going to do. This is what character is. A man or a woman of great character is someone that you can depend on. Can people depend on you, your family, your friends, your neighbors? If your neighbors asked you to mow their yard while you were gone, my neighbor's got some tall grass. If they came over and asked me to do that, would I be able to? I don't know. I know I wouldn't want to. But you just think a person of character would be able to say yes in any in most situations, if you're able to, at least. because the heart of God is to serve other people. And so when you have a character like that where you're able to be depended on by other people, that's when hope really produces in your heart. This is what Romans says. This is the Bible, the Word of God. You can call it truth. When you have hope, your life is to the point where you can trust in God, where your faith can allow you to move mountains, where the visions of your life, whether you're attaching yourself to someone else's vision, you're walking in your own vision, you're finding God's perfect, unique plan for your life, you're able to hopefully walk towards that future and finish your race, whether you're going across the country, across the state, or whether you're just going up the ladder in your work or chasing after an animal. There's all sorts of analogies you can put here, guys. But the truth of it is that God's got a special plan for your life. If you find the way to endure the sufferings, you'll find character. Character will produce hope, and hope fuels your faith. That'll do it for tonight's show. And I encourage everybody to head over to newjohnsimmons.com or the Apple Store or the Google Play Store to catch past episodes. Join us again tomorrow on the show, and Kevin Eskew will join us. And also, I want to thank Mr. Curtis behind the glass. All of you who have been with us on Facebook tonight. I want to thank our guest, Brad Cooper. Don't forget to check out Godspeed in theaters May 22nd, GodspeedCycling.com or FathomEvents.com. Until next time, guys, I pray you discover a future and a hope for your life today.
Thanks for listening to the new John Simmons Show, part of the Testimony House Network. To replay this episode or listen to past episodes, look for the new John Simmons Show podcast on your mobile device. Stay connected to the show. Read the latest news, blog posts, and see behind-the-scenes photos by following @New John Simmons on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you would like to learn more about how you can begin to write God's sentence for your life, or join a growing community of people who are finding passion, vision, and faith for their lives, please visit newjohnsimmons.com. Until next time, we pray you discover a future and a hope for your life today.
You own a business, right?